Connect. Good morning, everyone. This is Parker with Act Your Page and Fish Leisure Improv, and I'm here with two of our playwrights who we're featuring tonight, Jack Levine and Judith Glass Collins. And we are featuring a couple of their works at the New Works Night tonight at 6:30 Central Time. So we hope you can join us, and we hope you have fun with these interviews. You can, if you post a comment on Facebook, we will see it eventually. And so please do. And okay, so good morning. And you guys are calling from the opposite sides of the country, and you have some very different plays tonight. And we were just having a great conversation about improv, but let's start with some introductions. Could you tell me a little bit about who you are and how you got into playwriting?
Well, I was an actor years and years ago. Seems like a lifetime ago. I was living in New York, and I did a lot of off Broadway theater in churches on the Upper West Side. I did a couple commercials, that kind of thing, and I was tired of in between acting gigs doing typing. So I decided, and waitressing. So I decided, someone mentioned drama therapy. So I got involved in the drama therapy program at NYU, and through that I became a psychodramatist, and through that I became a psychologist. It was a journey, but I've always been involved in theater, and I've always written. And I basically, when I was living in San Francisco, I got involved in Will Dunn's playwriting workshop. And since then, I've just been writing plays. And when we moved up here, my husband and I started a winery. So that's what we were going to do. But very vibrant theater community in Port Townsend, and they have a playwriting festival every year.
I saw that. Yeah.
So I had a couple plays, and I submitted them, and I won a few times, and then I just got involved in the theater, and then I started sending things out other places because I joined the International Women's Playwrights Center.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So you jumped coast too. You started East Coast and then ended up in the Seattle area. For those who are not familiar about Port Townsend, my actors who may be watching this know Port Townsend, and from the play we're doing, the final class study of other desert cities, which figures in the Seattle ferry system, figures in that play. And Jack Levine, tell us about. I know we've talked before, and you've introduced yourself before, but
yeah,
we'll do it again.
Well, I retired a few years ago. I decided I had to figure out something to do, so I started off writing books, and I've written 5 so far, and then I also got into improv. Somebody told me that might be fun, and that led into stand-up comedy. Then I took a sketch writing course, and I did write a couple things for a radio program that was broadcast. And then I started to get into acting. And then the pandemic came. So it's in March of this year, I decided to write plays. So I've written 10-minute plays and a couple of monologues. And it's exciting. The only problem is I oftentimes I'm getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning because I have an idea. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I really got into it as something to do I don't want to say a hobby, but I guess so. I'm not doing it professionally, doing it for fun. But what's exciting is when you see the play performed. It's great. So that's my little story.
Okay. And you have Judith, you have 3 plays we're going to do tonight, right? Winter Holiday, Uber Suit, and a Poison Pens and Palettes. Can you talk about the plays a little bit and where the ideas might have come from?
Okay, well, a Poison Pens and Palettes Um,
Did you get a bad review?
I did. I got a bad review, and I was like, oh. And so I decided that I was going to. I just wrote it kind of as just sort of expressive arts therapy, and because that's what I did years. I did expressive arts therapy. So I did that, and then we had a playwriting group for a while in Port Townsend, and so I brought it there, and I didn't realize it, but the guy that was chosen to read the critics part was a critic, but not not in my town. He was like in Port Angeles. So it was so everyone started laughing and I thought, and then I found out, yeah, okay, he's a critic. So that's how that one started. And then with Winter Holiday, I'm from a bohemian religious family. My father was Jewish, my mother was not. She was raised as a Catholic. And how they just, they got married in the 30s. It was kind of a big deal that, they were my father had grown up in an Orthodox household, but he was kind of a socialist and atheist. And my mother, the two of them, you could clear the room if you just mentioned religion around them. They were it was very funny. So I don't know. I had this idea and I thought, it kind of reflected how I grew up. Now I'm married now to a Jewish man and we just do Hanukkah. We don't really do Christmas. Although I don't know. I have a bunch of Christmas cat balls. I'm a cat person. I see you are too, Parker. So I put them up. But and then as far as Uber Soup, I wrote this before the pandemic, and it was just an idea. And then when the pandemic happened, I had to revise it a little bit because the original one, he just wore a mask because he was phobic about germs, but that didn't make sense post-pandemic. So then they both had to wear masks and.
And when we rehearsed it, we do have them wearing masks, and I wasn't sure how that would transmit because of the we're all straining to hear each other a little bit with the masks, but it
Right.
actually worked, and it then made the moment when they take their masks off all the more powerful.
Yeah.
So that last moment in the play. Okay, very good. Okay, and then Jack, tell us about a troubling state of affairs and um, Old Man, Young Man. Tell us about the genesis for those plays.
Well, I'll start with the other side,
The other
the
side.
short play. I've often wondered, what it is that exists. What heaven, hell, something else. Uh,
The afterlife.
so
Yeah.
the essence of the play is the old man with experience and the young man who is uh, really believes that he can get his experience on his own, that he doesn't need any advice from an older person. He wants to set his own trail or whatever,
Right.
own life
Right.
experience. So that's the essence of the whole thing. What I have found most interesting in just a one-page play
Huh.
that that um, I've had about a dozen people read it and give good reviews, but everybody has come up with a not everybody. Well, I've had at least a half a dozen different interpretations of it,
Right.
um, and my I actually originally thought of the play in that the older person was really the new person that was being born. It's kind of like a reincarnation. And then I thought, well, I really don't believe in reincarnation. So then I got to one has now got to the point of next step up to heaven or whatever, and then wanting to say something, and the other one getting born, and that's why the last two words in it is happy birthday to give that. but not everybody picked it up in that way. Some people saw different relationships, saw them being the same people, saw them being uh, uh, friends. I mean, there was a number of different interpretations, and honestly, I'm delighted. I'm really delighted that it
That it
evoked
evokes
that
that.
much stuff. And
Mm,
actually, people have found it to be something that they want to talk about.
Oh,
So
mm-hmm.
that's been exciting from that point of view. I was surprised how much came from that. I actually wrote that for a uh, play festival for one pay. I guess I didn't win because I didn't hear anything one way or the other. But anyway, um,
You didn't hear anything back from the
I
festival.
had a Spokane festival, and I heard other playwrights that I know that are far better than I am mention that they had been told that they were in the top 150. So the fact that I wasn't told, I'm sure that meant that I didn't make the cut. But anyway, it was. I've only written a couple of monologues, a few monologues, so that was exciting. The other play really came from. Uh, I love Perry Mason, and I wanted to write something that had kind of where one character was everything seemed to be against him, everything, and yet he's denying everything. And here the Perry Mason, my Perry Mason character is uh, going to solve the case, but then as I'm writing it, I knew I had to have a twist. And I won't mention the twist so everybody can have fun with it. But when I came up with the twist, it according to people that have looked at it, they like that,
ah.
and maybe the other part interesting. But that's how that came. It's a development of. It started out in my mind. When I write so many different drafts of something, actually in a courtroom, and
Okay.
uh, and but then I thought that I decided I wanted to get it out of the courtroom because it was
Yeah.
too it just was too much the same as something else. So that's how that developed.
So, we were talking before we went live, and I should anyone who would tune in or picks or catches the interview at any point. This is we're talking to Jack Levine and Judith Glass Collins, who are two of our playwrights tonight that we're featuring. We're featuring six plays, um, new plays from emerging playwrights, and it's going to be another good new works night. It's going to go live on this Facebook page and YouTube, the Actor Page YouTube channel. So you can catch it there, or you can message us for a Zoom link if you want to be in the house and talk to the playwrights and actors afterwards. Um, but we were talking before we went live about improv, and Judith had asked me about the name Fish Liquor Improv, and then we were talking about improv and the creative process.
Mm.
So, um, improv. I started in theater before I started in improv, and I started pretty late at improv. So it was strange to me to be in a classroom with a lot of 20 and 30-year-olds and making people laugh. And apparently, I had this ability to do ridiculous and unexpected things that people laughed with. But when we talk about improv and the theater process, let's talk a little bit more about that and go back, revisit that conversation we were having. So, with improv, both of you have been had some experience with improv.
Mhm.
Okay, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I majored in theater in college, and there were improv classes, and I always found them terrifying. But I would push through and do it, and so I kind of left it. Except it's interesting because drama therapy and psychodrama is practically all improv. I mean, psychodrama has more of a structure, And you actually choose people to play important people in your life. But drama therapy practically is all improv. It's for a
Okay.
therapeutic purpose, but it's a lot of improvisational games and community building and group building, which I think improv does. It really does.
I agree. I agree with
Trust
that.
building is amazing. So, but I never really thought of it in terms of performance. And then about a couple years ago, we left the winery business, and it was like, well, what am I going to do? Kind of like what you, Jack, said. Well, what am I going to do? I need to do something. So I thought, well, I'm gonna join an improv group, which there are a couple in Boardtowns in their view. And so I really enjoyed it, and I knew the people that were in it, and that really helped. But and they were various ages. They went, people 20s and then people in their 70s. So it was kind of cool in that regard. And I found that that I could be funny, and I found that I just enjoyed the whole process. And then we performed a couple times. That I didn't like as well. I like more just doing it with
Right.
people I knew, when people are
Just the
watching.
pressure to be funny. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I said earlier that I think that I've done some things in terms of creating characters and then having actors just improv on the characters. And I think that really helps the writing
It
process.
absolutely does. It's great character work. And if you're an actor, I've done it as an actor. And I've had it done it as a director, but it's really good to go. You mentioned Will Dunn and his playwriting process, and there is that thinking that you write far more backstory
Yeah.
to a character in a play than the audience will ever see. And Hemingway said that the author should know like 16 times, go 16 levels deeper than what the reader sees. And improv does can get you to those some of those levels.
Yeah. I
So
think,
yeah, it is good. Jack, how about you? What's been your experience with improv?
Well, I I haven't done it for a couple of years, but I had there's a place called CT Comedy Theater in Hartford, which is super great. And I took a introductory course, then I took it again because I felt that was the best I was going to do. I was nervous about it. I was the oldest one by far. I'm in the 70s, and a lot of them were 20s and 30s. But then I took the first level, and the instructor said that I was boring, and the reason was
Oh,
no, it's absolutely true. Is because I was trying to watch what I said
okay,
and try to be funny. So the
okay,
second level that I took, I was called crazy funny because I really let it all go. And
okay,
I went up to 3 levels out of 4, and I took quite a few courses and workshops. And I was on stage probably 6 or 7 times in a performance. And I have to say, I enjoyed it. I never was nervous, never. Um, but that led into stand-up comedy, and then into acting, and then into playwriting. But I do see the connection. The uh, One of the things, as and we were talking about this earlier, acting, you memorize your lines, and you need to really engage with your fellow actor, and it's really important. And improv is to do improv, you have to listen to your partner, because you can't figure out what you can't it's whatever they say that's going to cause
absolutely.
you, so you can't plan anything ahead of time. And
That's
that
right.
is tremendous help. The other thing is stage presence. And another thing is, some actors, you will find when they are not talking, they're disengaged, they're on the stage,
Right.
but they're almost like
Yeah. Waiting
standing
for the
there.
yeah,
They're
waiting for
not
the
in
lines.
it.
Yeah.
And improv, you really need to, the stage presence is very important. And I learned a lot from that. Um, and my confidence grew.
Good.
Uh, Stand-up comedy is quite different.
Yeah.
We will talk about that at another time if you want. But improv was very, very good. And I did get into improv not with the idea that I was going to do acting, but once I had done it, and I just was curious of what acting would be like. So I went and I tried that, and I've been in a few community theater plays, and I've done a number of readings online. Uh, so improv has been good for me in a lot of different ways. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun that you do create characters. And I have actually written comedy sketches based on improv things that I've done. I've
Hmm.
written, in fact, I wrote a book which I included 10 comedy sketches that developed parodies and comedy sketches. So it's been good for me and enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good process. I miss it, and hopefully when the theaters come back, the improv comes back too. With the fish liquor improv, I mean, I get people from all walks of life, and it's a surprising process. It's kind of like being told you can go back to being six again, and everything goes.
Yeah,
And
and it's all accepting.
right,
Whatever
exactly.
you have to take in. You can't say no. I refuse that bid or whatever it is.
That's right.
You got to take it in. Yeah,
You got to take it in, and you have to be open, and in a way that when you're taught to be an adult, you have to, what's my next answer? You're thinking about not an improv. It's a great process for so
yeah,
many things.
yeah. It really is. Yeah.
Well, what are you guys working on now? What are you working on plays? What are you doing in this pandemic pause?
Well, I'm working on a novel, and it's I don't know genre. I think it's kind of immigrant fiction. It's about my parents and grandparents, and I make up a lot of stuff,
Okay.
it's based on some stories in my family, and
Okay.
then I'm as I'm writing, I'm thinking, well, this is kind of therapeutic, kind of, but anyway, I'm working on that, but I'm also working on a full length play about it's the idea. This is weird, but the idea is inner and outer pogroms. So what I'm working on, I my sister was a glass blower, and she was also alcoholic, and so I'm working on her. It's a juxtaposition between her glass blowing with and her process, and then we used to joke about how, do you think in the shtetl our family was glass blowers, because why did glass come up in our name? And
Right.
so I've got a couple of men in a shtetl in eastern Russia doing glass blowing, and then my sister and her husband. And so I'm trying to create some kind of connection with the
Right.
theme,
Sure.
and some ghosts are in there. I love ghosts, and so
That's
that's the
fascinating.
beginning process. Yeah,
And that's your full length play.
that's a full length play.
Okay. And the novel, they use the term creative nonfiction now, almost so ubiquitously
Yeah.
that I think there's an acceptance that you're filling in what you don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah, and even
Um,
like I have a niece that wrote a memoir, and people in the family got freaked out because that's not how it was. Well,
right.
that's how it was for her, you
That's
know?
how it was for her. Right.
Right.
Exactly right. Right. Exactly right. Yeah. And Jack, what are you working on now?
Well, I'll tell you what I just finished, and then I'll tell you what I got on there. I joined Caravan Productions, which is out of England, and one of the British actresses, asked if I would write a monologue for Christmas festival that they're doing, which I did. And I sent it to you, Parker, so you saw my efforts on that. And it was well received. So I'm looking forward to that being performed. Uh, I am in the process of writing something, but right now I'm on the paper and pen thing.
Okay.
I have the characters. I have the place. I have pretty much the situation, but I need to come up with that that ending, and so I haven't started. I've started to do a little draft with stuff because I wasn't going in the place I want. It takes me a little while to develop plays. I might go through 5, 6 plus versions of it till I get to be satisfied. The other thing is I like comedy an awful lot, and uh, I'm trying to do more drama, do a little more drama, but I always end up somehow, some way, my comedic instincts
You
kind of
can't
kick
suppress
in.
it.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Can't keep it away too long.
Well, the play "Past the Aggravation," which is a play of a family that has a little problem communicating. I wrote that, and I would enjoyed doing that. That was probably the most comical play that I wrote. We got some pretty good feedback on that. But that particular play always got me to laugh. And actually, when I first wrote it, my wife read it. And she says, "I don't like this." I think she thought I was trying to knock something that happened in our place. But
It's called Past the Aggravation.
yeah, past the aggravation,
It's cute.
and it's
It's cute.
it's. I mean, the thing is that the father and mother have the girlfriend, the daughter, and her fiance, and the fiance and the daughter wants to announce that they have gotten engaged, and the parents are wacko, and they don't get it at all, and which I did because I wanted just to switch it because a lot of times it's the kids that's always doing the stuff like that. So I had fun. I had a lot of fun with that. Um, you know, it's almost like a stand-up comedy routine and not stand-up comedy, improv in a way. It
Hmm.
was kind of done. And when I wrote it, I actually that was one of the places I wrote at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I don't know why. And I had the concept, but I didn't have exactly how it was going to go. So I literally wrote it just a stream of consciousness, and surprisingly, it was pretty close to the final product when I got through. I liked it a lot, and I
That's nice.
I have a couple of people that edit my plays and give me excellent feedback. And they kind of liked it, so it's probably the play that's had the least revisions to it. But anyway, that's what happens. You write all kinds of crazy things, and it's a lot of fun.
So we're talking with Judith Glass Collins, and from the West Coast, and Jack Levine from the East Coast, and I'm in
Middle.
the Midwest. We are featuring tonight for the 12/12 New Works Night 6 works from 3 emerging playwrights, including Judith, Jack, and Michael Swiskay, and starring our company members Pete Blatchford, Nikki G, Peter Quinones, and Zev Johnston, and Angelina Musro. So we're excited about what's going to come out tonight with all the twists and turns and humor and a little bit of death tonight.
Mhm.
A little bit of revenge tonight for our new works night. What are you guys excited about for the new year in terms of theater and your own work? What are you excited about?
Oh, I'm excited about my 2 projects. I also take little breaks to write 10-minute plays because Jack, I like just writing it out and just doing it, and I can do that with 10-minute plays. The other things I obsess over more. But I'm looking forward to those projects. I'm looking forward to becoming more involved with Actor Page. Actually,
Well, that we would love to see more of your work.
I mean, I, you know, I I sort of came slowly into the idea of Zoom, although I do telehealth. I'm a therapist, so I think I do a lot of that. So it's like, oh, I don't know, going on Zoom meetings, but I've really enjoyed this. So I'm excited about doing more of it. So
That's great to hear, Judith. You know, that Zoom is it's an adjustment,
yeah,
and the live stream has worked itself out well for the interviews, although I have contemplated using it for plays, but we have a limitation of 10. And I keep looking to where virtual theater is going to go, and because I go and I go back and forth on this. It's going to die, it's going to stay, it's going to die, but there seems to be there is some indication it will live beyond the pandemic, and I want to see if the technology gets there,
yeah,
if we can be in disparate parts of this country using actors we like from all over and playwrights from all over and do a production without the heavy cost of a physical production and the limiting costs of that.
right,
So yeah, I don't know where it goes, but if we're looking at the opportunity side of crisis, it's possible there is a new art form that lets us go into houses that we wouldn't otherwise reach.
right, right, right.
Jack, what are you looking forward to?
Actually, I have a couple of things that I want to get into. I want to write a novel. I've published 5 books, but they've been one was a memoir, and then I've done published parodies and comedies. I've done short stories, and things like that. But I did write a novel, but it was uh, it was kind of it wasn't kind of, it was about prejudice, and I really it was done harshly with the intention of making some points. But when everything came up with Black Lives Matter, my good friend and mentor and editor and everything, he said, this may be a little over the top. Although I showed it to a couple of people,
I
did a
think you've
lot, but I do want to write a novel. And
okay.
the other thing is, I've been wanting to get into puppetry. I've
Huh.
been I actually have some puppets, and I've taken some a little bit of a course. I want to take some more, and I want to do that. And I think from that, I had in fact, just before the pandemic started, I had a show at the Palace Theater in Waterbury in which I did stand up and did some other stuff, acting stuff, and I did have a puppet. I want to do that. So that in the novel, and then of course I like to continue doing the short plays, and I absolutely want to act. And I know the list is kind of long, and I'd like to get back. I like to do some improv and stand up. In fact, I have to say that I'm 76, going on 6. I just love to do a lot of different things, and
That's good.
there's there's there isn't just a one word answer. I'm sorry.
Well, what's that expression? To be happy, you need to have someone to love, somewhere to go, and something to do.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
I have someone to love because I'm been married 47 years to my best friend, and so
That's wonderful.
that's been great. And I have a great family, so
Well, you
they're
guys,
all amazed I keep busy.
you both are very versatile. You've had such interesting backgrounds and experiences, and I can see how that transmits into the plays that I've seen. So it's going to be interesting to see what you work on in 2021, and maybe we'll get a peek at that with Actor
Yeah.
Page.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a pleasure working with you.
Same.
Any final thoughts? Why people? I always say, why should people come to the New Works night tonight? You got a plug?
Oh, I think that it's a great. First of all, Parker, you're terrific. You really are.
Oh, thanks.
And a lot of people don't, in working with you and doing some of the acting, you're very helpful, and I love the conversations we have afterwards, and all the things that you know, and learned an awful lot from you. The actors are wonderful. One thing I found from this group is everybody is all in,
Yeah.
and I love enthusiasm, and everybody really tries hard and cares about it. And I think you're just going to have to see that there's a big difference between those that just read and those that put their efforts into it. And this group absolutely does that. So I would say if you want to see a lively group doing good performances, this is the place to be.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks, Jack. David,
Yeah,
why should
I
they come
just
tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I sent, I have a writing group and I sent the link. I really want them to come. My husband's going to come. And I really, I just went to one rehearsal. I'm brand new to Fish Liquor and Actor Page. And I was very impressed with the acting and the directing. And I saw, I came a little early, and so I saw a little bit of some of the other, and I think the work is really interesting. And good grief, we're in a pandemic, and you can't go out to the theater. So here's something that's being presented to you on a silver platter. I think it's I think it's really going to be fun. And yeah, come.
I agree. I agree. It's a good night of I think our longest play is about 30 minutes. Our first play, Across by Michael Swiskay, and then we've got 5-10 minute plays of varying temperature and color and content, and so that's exciting. So yes, we've got good actors, good scripts, and I hope good energy. And so again, if you're just tuning in or you're catching the recording of this tonight at 6:30, December 12th p.m., we're going to broadcast. We're going to live cast on the Fish Liquor Facebook page, on the YouTube page. And then if you want to be in the house and meet the actors and directors afterwards, please message us for the Zoom link and we'll be happy to send that to you so we can talk with you afterwards about these 6 different plays. So thank you both very much for
Welcome. Thank you.
joining me this morning and for setting your work and trusting us with the process. And may the tech gods be with us tonight, as always. You never know.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, we're gonna put our heart into it and bring these very interesting plays to, as Judith said, on a silver platter to you. So please do tune in tonight. And if you do miss it, you can catch you can catch the recording on YouTube or message us for the recording. I will look forward to seeing you guys tonight at 6:30.
Same.
6:30. Nice to meet you, Jack. Okay, bye.
Same.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.